Coming to you live from the gym in Sullivan Park, New Mexico. This is the 343 commitment and still counting. 110 floors for firefighter Matthew Rogan from Lucky 11. Ladder 11, housed with Engine 28, Los Bomberos Primeros in Alphabet City in Manhattan. This climb is comprised of 7 verticals and 9 floors once we reach the 101st floor. So this is for our brother who initially was a police officer with NYPD for 8 years prior to following his father in his footsteps to the FDNY in 1994. So this is his climb, dedicated to his family, his wife, Melissa, and his children, Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr. So this 110 floors is to carry our brother to the top of the towers. This is why we climb, and we're just about to kick off that first vertical. Taking him all the way, finishing his footsteps. And here we are just about to kick it off. For our brother, Matthew Rogan, up at Lucky 11. Recently, I climbed for Lieutenant Quilty, who was on Ladder 11. And right now I'm taking up one of his brothers, Matthew Rogan. This climb is dedicated to his wife, Melissa, and his children, who are young adults by now. Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr. I read an article that I believe it was Monica that became a nurse, taking care of her community. So for our brother who started off with the NYPD with 8 years of service in blue prior to joining the FDNY in 1994, carrying him up with honor and respect for the sacrifice made on 9/11, 2001. In November 11th of 1997, our brother participated in a very chilly rescue of a woman in the East River. It said that he jumped in bunker gear and they had to swim 20 to 30 feet to go get her. Our brother was said to not like the spotlight, to not seek attention. And the article I read, it said that after the rescue was done, when they were attending the press conference, he said it was harder than the actual rescue itself to then Mayor Giuliani in 97. That was 2 years after I graduated high school that our brother made a rescue in the East River with his crew. We'll never forget his service as both NYPD and FDNY. This is why we climb, to tell their stories so their families know 19 years later they will not be just a name on a wall or a picture on a plaque. This is why we carry them to the very top, to keep them in our memories, to never forget. Taking them up right now, finishing their footsteps as we go to the top, to the 110th floor. For the 8 years of service on the NYPD, to when my junior year in high school, 94, he joined the FDNY, and on 9/11, he wasn't even supposed to be on duty. At 11 to 28, ladder 11 into 28, Los Bomberos Primeros with Lucky 11s in Alphabet City. He wasn't even supposed to be on the job that day. He had done a shift trade and was there for that reason. But he had been off because he was working on the kitchen of his house. So this is for his sacrifice and for those who responded on 9/11 and after within the recovery effort at Ground Zero, taking our brother up the 287th brother to be carried down to 56 and counting it down, pushing him up with honor and respect. This is the 343 commitment, coming to you live in the gym in Summer Park, New Mexico, for our brother, firefighter from ladder 11, Lucky 11, Matthew Rogan, for his wife Melissa and children Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr. Your husband and father will never be forgotten. It said that during the research, our brother was very shyish about Christmas because it was too commercial. He didn't like his birthday because it brought too much attention. And it said that in the article that I read about Monica, the last birthday that they were able to celebrate together was at a Mexican restaurant that Matthew had liked to go to. Right now, taking our brother up for his family, for the FDNY, and for our country, to never forget their sacrifices, to always remember our brothers, their families, and the FDNY. This is why we climb, taking them one at a time, telling each and every story as we go to the top, to that symbolic 110 floors. Climbing beside me right now, brother Matthew Rogan, ladder 11. Each one a step closer to that next floor, pushing him all the way as we tell his story. Our brother, as I said before, gave 8 years of service in the NYPD prior to following his dad's footsteps into the FDNY in 1994. Our brother showed valor and heroism when he jumped in the East River, a very frigid East River, in bunker gear to go rescue a woman there in the water on November 11th of 1997. He spoke to then Mayor Rudy Giuliani and told him that the press conference thing was actually harder than the rescue itself, because our brother did not seek the spotlight, did not seek the limelight. Instead, he did the job. Instead, our brother enjoyed his family. He was a master gardener. He grew enough grapes that the following year he and Melissa had thought that they were going to actually have enough to start a little vineyard. Our brother enjoyed spending time with his family. He loved climbing, and a great husband and father overall. Carried him to the very top. For ladder 11, lucky 11, out of Alphabet City in Manhattan, housed with engine 28, Los Bomberos Primeros. Our brothers on the ladder were known to be very close to their community. Another article I was reading said that at night you can hear them actually playing lowrider on the ladder by war while they were driving around, loving their community. For his service to both the NYPD and the FDNY, we climb to tell his story. We climb, dedicating this to his family, wife Melissa and children, Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr. Dedicating this to the FDNY off and on the line, specifically ladder 11, lucky 11s, and into 28, Los Bomberos Primeros. This is your climb to let you know another brother is headed to that top that we will never forget, but always remember the sacrifices made on and after 9/11, 2001, within the initial rescue effort, where upwards of 25,000 were saved through the bravery, valor, and heroism that was shown, to the recovery effort, working ground zero with those who worked the pile for days, weeks, and months. Those that succumbed to 9/11 illness and cancers. God willing, on completion of these last 56 climbs left, I'll start carrying as many of the ants, still counting, as I can, one at a time. This is why we climb, pushing them all the way to the very top with honor and respect. A father of 3, a husband, and our brother, carrying him up, followed his father's footsteps, which I believe I read he was a retired captain in the FDNY. Right now, this is his 110 floors. Taking him up another floor towards that top. Now we have the last 3 verticals of this 110th floor memorial to our brother firefighter Matthew Rogan, 37 years old on 9/11. The last 3 verticals pushing us already over the halfway mark in this memorial climb for our brother right here. Taking him up one step at a time till we get to the next floor, till we finish the next climb. When he started his public service, he gave 8 years to the NYPD. And in 1994, he followed his father's footsteps in joining the FDNY. As I said before, on 9/11, he was actually off, went in to do a ship trade, and responded to the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil, part of the greatest rescue effort known in U.S. history, where upwards of 25,000 were saved because of the bravery and heroism that was shown on 9/11. We will never forget their sacrifice. We will always keep them in our hearts and our minds and continue to tell their stories. Taking them up to the very top. Third to last vertical on this 110th floor memorial climb. Coming to you live in the gym in Selden Park, New Mexico. This is the 343 commitment and still counting. 110th floor memorial star climb for firefighter Matthew Rogan. Part of the initial 343 climbs prior to the end still counting, taking their place one at a time. Carrying them up. The 287th, I believe, with 56 left to carry. Counting it down one by one until they all reach the top. Pushing them up. Going there now, as we speak. Coming down off that third vertical, only 2 left before we get to that 101st floor. Taking them up all the way symbolically, carrying them with the Matthew Rogan, our brother firefighter, is going up now. For his wife, Melissa, and children, Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr., your husband and father will never, ever be forgotten. A promise made and a promise being kept. Not only here, but across the U.S. and the world. When we lift our brothers' names and their stories to the 110th floor, or to that 5K, or whatever the event is, that we will never forget, but we will always remember. This is the reason we climb. This is the reason we continually tell their stories. A master gardener, our brother, had a whole lot of grapes, and he and Melissa thought, with that many grapes, they might as well look at opening a vineyard and making wine when they had such a high yield. Our brother was said to know to cut every tree the way it was supposed to, and was known to have a sense of humor. Around his family. Right now, we're taking our brother symbolically, second last vertical, to that 110 floor mark. One more vertical, and we'll reach the 101st floor. Pushing him up for his 8 years of service to the New York Police Department as a police officer. He joined the FDNY in 1994, following his father's footsteps, taking him up while we reflect on our brother's story and his life, those he left behind. This is dedicated to the FDNY, off and on the line, Manhattan, Alphabet City, Lucky 11, Los Bomberos Primeros. You got it with the letter 11 into 28. This is your climb. I had the opportunity and the honor to go to that station, to Lucky 11 into 28, Los Bomberos Primeros, to pay my honor and respect while we were there. When I explained what the commitment was and what I was doing, I was given a complete, humbling honor moment when their senior brother took me upstairs and showed me Michael Camarada, his locker. It stands as a memorial to our brother and those that were lost. I've already carried him up, but right now I'm carrying up firefighter Matthew Rogan, taking him up to finish his 110 floors memorial climb. His part of this 343 commitment to tell his story so his family and the FDNY and our country will know that we have not forgotten, that we are keeping our promise all the way. 10 years, 19 years now, it doesn't matter. They will always be remembered. These are the reasons we climb. to tell their stories so they never fade away. Their lives will live on through their families and through us, telling their stories. As I said before, I believe if I read it correctly, his daughter Monica, in a article I read, said that she became a nurse, a registered nurse, to take care of her community in service to others. Taking them up all the way to the very, very top. This is why we climb. So now that 100 and first floor. Taking them up as we speak to finish his footsteps as those who've gone before in this commitment. With honor and respect for the bravery and heroism on 9/11 and his bravery and heroism in 1997. I believe it was November 11th, if I got it correct again. Everything's by memory. My brother jumped into the East River and swam between 20 to 40 feet to go rescue the women who was in the river. We will never forget his sacrifice and his service as both a New York police officer and New York City firefighter. Following his father's footsteps, which I read, I believe he was a retired captain in the FDNY, pushing him up as we take each and every last step in this 110th floor climb, carrying his last few floors. This is the reason we climb, to tell his story as a master gardener, a brother that loved climbing, a father to three, Sarah, Monica, and Matthew Jr., and his wife, Melissa. For the FDNY, ladder 11, lucky 11, housed with into 28. Those Bomberos Primeros there in Alphabet City, where I was able to give to the 110. Firefighter Matthew Rogan, ladder 11. Rest easy, brother. We got it from here.